Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater, and today's been an interesting day because we got a little bit of news surrounding Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's right. The Disney Plus series that's been stalled due to writing issues has finally found itself, well, a new writer. With the guy being Joby Harold in an article here from Variety. In fact, an exclusive from Variety, saying Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series enlists Joby Harold as new writer. And look at that guy. He looks super pleased to be photographed there. I mean, look, I understand that not every time someone snaps a photo, you're going to be looking your best, but you figure they'd have something better than that right there. If you're going to be the new writer on the Obi-Wan series, that you'd be happy. I would be happy. I think any one of us would be happy. But of course, let's find out more about just who this guy is. So according to Variety, they say here, Joby Harold has been tapped to write the upcoming Obi-Wan series for Disney Plus. Variety has learned exclusively from sources, saying Harold takes over the writing of the highly anticipated series from Hossein Amini, who left the project back in January, saying that this would mark Harold's first time writing for a television series. He most recently executive produced John Wick Chapter 3 and is also writing the script for Zack Snyder's film Army of the Dead. He was one of 2 writers alongside James Vanderbilt who were selected to develop a new take on the Transformers franchise for Paramount. And so what does that mean, especially if you put these 2 films together and what they potentially could tell us about the direction that Joby here would be taking with the Kenobi series? All action. Tons of action, tons of over-the-top action, a lot of visceral combat. And I say that because if you look at John Wick Chapter 3, that movie is insane on the action, and it also builds a fair amount of mythology. The mythology that it uses to expand upon the world that John Wick inhabits is one of the reasons why fans really love the movie. Army of the Dead, on the other hand, is a heist movie set amongst a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, where a bunch of thieves and criminals break into a Vegas casino in order to rip it off amidst all of these zombies. And it's Zack Snyder, based on an original story that he wrote, and he's directing it, and he's also serving as the cinematographer. Now, the reason why I bring that up means we're going to be seeing a lot of action out of Army of the Dead, and we got a lot of action out of John Wick Chapter 3. So when you think about that and you apply it to Joby Harold, you can basically see precisely what the pitch was. High intensity, high action, lots of lightsabers, and mythology building, which is, after the success of The Mandalorian, how it ties into Clone Wars and how it ties in to Rebels and everything else that Disney Star Wars has been building up in terms of mythology. You can now start to see exactly why they're going the direction that they're going. That is at least my take on it. Now, if we come over here and we look at Hossein Amini here, right, just bringing up his IMDB, we can see that his repertoire is maybe not as good on that front. So we can see, looking at some of the movies he wrote in 2012 or in 2011, he did Drive, which was a good character film. It was a very good drama. It had action, had violence in it, and it was interesting. But was it something you'd really want to see expanded over 6 or 8 episodes? Probably not. He did Snow White and the Huntsman, which was a fun movie, but again, not that great. He then followed that up with 47 Ronin, a Keanu Reeves movie that Keanu kind of fought for, that failed to connect with the audiences. A lot of times, actually, people were complaining, I think, even about cultural appropriation back then. And since then, he hasn't really done much. He wrote The Alienist. He worked on that teleplay. He wrote McMafia, wrote some episodes of that from season 1, and he hasn't done a lot. So I think when he was brought in with Stephen Daldry, I think he was the original screenwriter that Stephen Daldry was going to use before he left the project. And so now we can see that he's out and Joby Harold is in. But it goes back a little bit further than this. And I wanted to kind of extrapolate a little bit more based upon the information we got out of The Hollywood Reporter back in January of 2020, saying here, Obi-Wan Kenobi series on hold as calls go out for new scripts. So at this point, we knew that Hossein Amini was out, but we didn't quite know all the details, and we still, to an extent, don't know everything. But Boris Kitt here is the author of this piece. He is well connected, he's well known, and it makes sense that he would actually have some information. So it says, sources tell THR that scripts, only 2 were written, and the story became an issue, and that the entire package has been jettisoned. Lucasfilm is now on the hunt for a new writer to pen the series. At the same time, sources say the project is being reconfigured from 6 episodes to 4, which ultimately feels like it's going to be a Kenobi movie that they could potentially release in theaters before putting it, or after putting it on Disney Plus. And if you don't think I'm right on that one, they're going to need money. Look at what's going on right now with the furlough at Disney. You get a little bit of idea out of that. Now, it goes on to say here that the development follows social media rumors a week ago that the series was canceled. Those posts proved premature, but did expose that the project was facing problems. It's unclear why scripts became an issue so late in the process. One of the sources said that the Kenobi story trod similar ground to The Mandalorian, seeing the Jedi Master lending a protective hand to young Luke, and possibly even a young Leia, perhaps mirroring how The Mandalorian took Baby Yoda under his protective custody. And look, man, here's the thing. As for one, Mando and Baby Yoda are the child. Great chemistry. Love that. Obi-Wan hanging out with young Luke, hanging out with young Leia, I would argue destroys the mythology that Lucas had established with A New Hope. And I wouldn't like that at all. And I'm excited for the series, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this kind of Western take on it. But we don't need a young Luke. We don't need a young Leia. What we need is a good story. What we need is a good world building. What we need is for Ewan McGregor to get the meat of the character, to go back in and to really tell a complex Obi-Wan story worthy of this kind of series, worthy of this kind of event. And I would argue that what we could be getting out of Joby Harold here could give us that, as well as some insane over-the-top action. And I also want to kind of go back and talk about who is still attached to direct the episodes, and that is Deborah Chow. Now, coming off The Mandalorian, Deborah Chow is GOAT, greatest of all time. Her episodes, This Is the Way, and the 7th episode, I can't forget the name of it right now, were great. They were fantastic. They were action-packed. They were full of character, full of heart. Right? They were full, in some cases, of even expanding the mythology, because she was the one who handled Baby Yoda and the Force healing ability. She was also the one that brought the Mandalorians out of hiding and gave us Pre Vizsla with his, heavy machine gun and jetpacks. And I still love that scene. That's still the best scene of the entire season for me, is when everyone came together and they helped Mando out of that situation. Total Western vibe, total great scene, all that jazz. Gotta say, I absolutely freaking loved it. And so, yeah, Chow on board to do something that's going to be high action, heavy action from a dude who worked with Zack Snyder on an action zombie movie, and who also produced John Wick Chapter 3, and is also going to bring about the reboot of the Transformers franchise, which is robots v robots, a lot of robot on robot action. So a lot of action. We can start to kind of get an idea here for how Joby Harold is going to craft the Kenobi series. And while I don't want to sit there and say that it's going to be amazing, it could be terrible. We literally have no idea. But this actually gives me hope, more so than Hossein Amini, which is coming off from more of maybe a fantasy aspect, which doesn't necessarily jive with what we're hearing in regards to it being more of a hardcore Western take, something that people out there really wanted, especially when we heard rumors that Boba Fett was going to be directed by James Mangold, coming off of Logan, and how that was a great send-off for that character and a great Western in and of itself. So yeah, this is what people want. People want Obi-Wan, but they want him in a scenario that I think is removed from the events of the prequel trilogy. They want to see him in his out of his element, on his own, no protection from Jedi Council, having to fight and scrap by and survive for a noble cause. I think we'll get it with Deborah Chow, and I think with the writer coming off of stuff he's worked on with badass characters doing badass things, it's possible that we might get ourselves just the right combination, the right cocktail to make Star Wars great again, specifically on Disney Plus, whenever the hell it comes out. Probably not till the fall of 2021, and at this point, maybe not even until 2022. It's a long ways off, but trust me, guys, as soon as I can, as much as I can, I will be covering the story. I'll be covering the series, because I, like you, am a diehard fan, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next. Anyway, guys, I thank you so much for your time. I thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, do me a favor, type Kenobi into the comment box so I know you guys made it. Also, be sure to check out Hollywood After Dark on twitch.tv/3bucktheater, 10 or 10:30 p.m. roughly. Most nights, I'll be on there talking with you, taking your calls, talking about movies, having a good time. And if you really want to support the channel, consider subscribing. Hit that like, hit that bell, become a member. Link below in the video description. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you again, and peace out.